there, friends! Welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we're picking up where we left off last time and working on those collectibles that we've got started so far. We're hitting up Mount Komorebi and the night market in Tomarang and taking care of some things around the home. And by the end of this video, our small business will be ready to open. First things first, we got 2 new postcards from Sunset Valley and Appaloosa Plains. And so I hung them up with the others and told Ivy to hop onto the pen pal forums and find another pen pal. I then moved my precious Touch Grass magazines from the Nature's Calling event downstairs with the rest of the collections. You can tell this footage was from July because at this point in the game, I only had 2 magazines, and the last quests were not yet available for Ivy to complete, but that's mom life. Babies come first and videos are made during nap time. Our glorious Golden Trilobite Award would be better displayed up high where Ivy could gaze up at its majesty, and I obviously needed more empty shelves. Mine were way too full for my liking. Next, it was time to rummage for marbles in the toy box. Howdy, neighbor. Ivy dug through the toy box and found a marble called Lumberjacks in Red, and I thought this was interesting because it's actually a Sims 4 reference. The pre-made Sims and casts actually have names and backstories created by the devs, which I never knew. And this guy right here is Kurt Lumberjackson. His creator, Sim Guru Morgan, says that Kurt comes from a long lineage of lumberjacks and is probably from Granite Falls. He's super nice and 100% a loner. He has dreams to get out of Granite Falls, and he also has the angling ace aspiration.
Oh, a fellow chucker, eh?
Anyways, that was a new marble, so I placed it in the jar with the others. I hope you enjoyed my obscure TMNT 2 reference, one of my favorite movies of all time. While Ivy admired her impressive collection of axolotls, I brought a couple of them to her inventory to breed. I ended up with a duplicate, so I sold it. But if you haven't noticed, axolotls are zero simoleons. And that's because in real life, they're critically endangered. So we're not selling them, we're releasing them. Then it was time to do the same thing with frogs, so I grabbed 2 from off the shelves. It doesn't matter which frogs or axolotls I breed. Unlike Animal Crossing, where certain combinations produce specific results, breeding amphibians in The Sims 4 is entirely random. Might get a duplicate, a rare, or anything else. This time we got a new one. That was enough of our daily chores for the day, and Ivy and I were both itching to get a move on, so off we went to Mount Komorebi. We arrived dressed completely inappropriately for the weather, so I told Ivy to change into something warmer. I was very concerned that my puppy couldn't walk in the snow, and considering how I wanted her to be my adventure buddy and see the world, I didn't want her babiness to impede her in any way, so I aged her up to a beautiful adult Beethoven. Ivy came out to give her some love and wish her a happy birthday. We were almost halfway through the Simmy collection, so I was here to spam the vending machine a little harder than we did last time, so we'd hopefully come home with a nice score. Ivy ran over to the vending machine and made her first purchase. Go figure, first one we tried and the capsule got stuck. It was time to risk it all for a small gotcha toy. Luckily, we made it out of this one safe and sound. So we proceeded to purchase more capsules. I opened capsule after capsule to reveal some new and some old Simmies. I also wanted to get some Void Critter booster packs while I was here, so I opened a few of those as well. I was pretty satisfied with this haul and pretty much out of money, but I wanted to hit the night market before they closed for the night so I could check if the dupe had any tassels and marbles, so we ventured forth to Tomarang. When we arrived in Tomarang, I immediately had her check out the vendor booth, and it must have been Dr. Doofenshmirtz's night off because we had a different guy tonight. Unfortunately, he only had collectibles we already had, so we skipped that for tonight. I told her to use this conveniently placed restroom, and since she was so tired, it was time to go home, even though I was hoping we could have explored the cave or something. Tonight, we'd be leaving Tomarang empty-handed. Back at the house, our little Ginger no longer fit snugly in our arms, but was a great big girl now. Ivy was exhausted, so I sent her ass to bed. Of course, while Ivy got her rest, I displayed our new treasures on the walls. We had plenty of our Snowy Escape collectibles to display, but sadly nothing from Tomarang for tonight. However, I was super pleased with how the shelves were filling out, and knew that the real museum was coming soon. morning, Ivy started by taking care of the garden and putting some simoleons back in our pockets. I queued up marbles and pen pals next. As Ivy looked through the toy box, she found another Olive's Garden, which we already had, so I sold it. She checked the pen pal forums and got a new pen pal from Moonlight Falls. This is the world from The Sims 3 Supernatural, the game that gave us the ability to play as a werewolf, a witch, a fairy, a vampire, or even a zombie. And if you pre-ordered, you'd get exclusive Plants vs. Zombies content, which I thought was funny, so I looked it up, and you could have the plants fight the zombie sims, which I think is a very cool feature. Ivy sent her pen pal a letter, and I can't help but wonder what type of a cult they are. She did her daily digging in hopes of finding the only fossil that we needed, the prehistoric bird. Not now, Amos, before I... Your ass. Shut up, Amos. Back at the house, I put the items out for viewing pleasure. No new axolotls, but we did get a new frog. We also had a new crystal to put out, Sodalite. I also forgot I had found this treasure map and wanted to see what that was all about at some point. Unfortunately, we did not find the fossil we needed, but it did give us some money, so no harm, no foul. You dig up a lot of upgrade parts too, so I had some of them to sell. Of course, Ivy was fishing, but I was surprised to see the ring bear come and watch her and cry. Ivy achieved level 6 of the fishing skill, and now could catch even more fishes. Luckily, the ring bear took his negative vibes somewhere else, and we were then joined by our pride and joy Ginger. Ivy was having some good luck with fishing today, and I had a few new ones to put on the wall. We bred a couple of axolotls and ended up with a new one. After all of that, we had business to attend to in Mount Komorebi. I wanted to check out more of the world though, so this time we went to the bar in the middle of town. Ivy was hungry, so I told her to try sushi for the first time. She is adventurous after all, but for her first time, I thought we'd play it safe with the standard tuna maki. She ate her lunch and I combed the premises for anything to dig up. This world was really pretty. Up till this point, I had only ever seen it covered in snow, so it's nice to check out the rest of the neighborhoods. I noticed this trail sign and decided to send Ivy on a hike with Ginger to the temple. She was pretty low on energy, so I was hoping we'd get there before she passed out. This was the temple, and our protagonist had quite a ways to go before she would get there, and her energy was already in the red, so I was not optimistic she'd actually reach the temple today. However, the least we could do was try, so she started up to the temple with her faithful companion by her side, and I continued looking around. I found this neat-looking graveyard, but couldn't interact with anything in it. I checked on Ivy's progress, and she was trucking along begrudgingly. She was in a happy mood still, and she seems to have enjoyed her sushi, but I didn't want to risk her passing out, so I told her to head back for now. The temple would be explored another day. And we got a call from someone other than Amos for the first time, ever. She said that my great-great-grand-second once-removed cousin's friend's grandpa had passed away. Amos, perhaps? It seemed too good to be true, so I asked what the conditions of this arrangement were. Fortunately, there were conditions, unless Ivy asked what the conditions were, so she ultimately ended up with 2,500 simoleons now in her pocket. I wanted to send her home, but now that we had money to play around with, I needed to find a vending machine. I looked around the area and eventually found the Simmy vending machine and had Ivy purchase some capsules and a few Void Critter packs. She had just enough steam in her to get the job done, and I was delighted at the sight of her inventory now. Then it was time for her to hit the road and head home. Of course, as soon as we got home, I told her to go to bed. I tried arranging our Void Critter cards by type for organization and convenience as best as I could for now. Then I panned over to the Simmy shelves and put up our new ones. When morning came around, Ivy tended to her chore list. The toy box gave us the same marble from the beginning of the video, so we sold that one. Amos asked if he could come over, so he did not die. Then who gave us the money? Anyway, Ivy's too busy for him. But did that stop him from calling her right back? Of course not. She ran around the park trying to find something new. Back at home, I bred the new frog she found with an old one, only to end up with a second leopard frog. But I completed that part of her aspiration, which is an achievement. Again, we did not find the fossil we needed, but we did have a new My Sims trophy. When Ivy came home, she hopped on the pen pal forums to find a reply from a sim in Lunar Lakes. This was another Sims 3 store world, which I never had, but I found a video review of it from Lazy Game Reviews. This Sims 3 town is set on another planet and was quite otherworldly, with huge craters, geometric water features, and giant mushroom trees. It is said to have similar living conditions to the planet of Sim Nation, making it habitable by regular old Sims. The mayor of Lunar Lakes gives the history of the planet by saying that their ancestors crash-landed here by looking for other planets to colonize, and they stumbled upon the crystals of the Tree of Prosperity, which enabled them to build a sustainable town. Ivy wrote back to her intergalactic pen pal and asked what life was like among the stars. I gave myself a little tour of our different exhibits, and I was amazed and delighted at the fullness. It was truly a sight to behold, and I thought now we were finally ready to open for business. But there wasn't nearly enough room to add any more collectibles in this room, so there was only one thing to do. It was officially time to build our brick and mortar setup. So here is the speed build of making our museum. What I wanted to do was basically take the look of my current house so that it would match, but be in the back of the lot facing that street behind the house. And then the small business in the house would be connected by the garden. So Sims would walk through the museum and then head outside to see the plants in season. Since Ivy's house was very basic shaped, as were most buildings in this neighborhood, all we really needed was a rectangle. We're just gonna start small and leave room for expansion later on. I used a lot of elements that are on Ivy's house already and basically just tried to mimic the house, so it's like this building was supposed to be here all along. Then I moved everything one by one from the living room over to the museum. I tried to keep it pretty organized, similar to how I had it in the living room. It definitely will be evolving a lot from the way it looks right now, but I was so delighted to finally have her museum set up fully. Then it was time to register as a small business. I chose a simple name, Museum of Collectibles. And for activities, customers can view art, view collectibles, tend my garden for me, and one last thing, they can enjoy the hot tub we worked so fucking hard for. Then I rearranged the yard to accommodate customers. Then I set the public and residential spaces, and this was it! Our museum was ready to open for business. With that, that's gonna wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like. Thank you for everyone who has supported me as a new creator. It means a whole lot to me. If you want to keep up with my Sims adventures, be sure to hit the subscribe button. That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Until next time.